Welcome into another coach's interview. My name is Dane Stewart. Pleased to bring these to you on both KSLSports.com and on the Utah Lacrosse Podcast. Of course, we want to thank our sponsors who make these interviews possible, including Heidemann and Associates, a full-service law firm. They'll take care of what any legal needs you might have. And if you give them a call and tell them that Rewind sent you, you'll get a free consultation. Just give them a call at 801-472-7742 or visit them online at utah.law. Of course, we also want to thank Tribal West. It's your premier lacrosse destination. If you have any lacrosse needs, no one's going to be better positioned to take care of you, be that stick, stringing, tape, team gear, whatever you need. Tribal West has got you covered. They're down in Sandy. Check them out. If you've got any needs, they'll take care of you. Well, we've had a couple of boys interviews, but hey, we wanted to get a chance to interview a couple of girls coaches before the year expires as well. And we thought, who better to start with than Coach Melissa Nash, or Nash, the head coach of the girls Brighton lacrosse team. Well, please be joined by Coach Melissa Nash, the head coach of the Brighton girls lacrosse team. Coach, first of all, thank you for joining us. How's your weekend been?
It's been rainy, but it's been good. I'm glad we're not having a game today, that's for sure.
No kidding, huh? We had a game on Friday night that we were out at, and the conditions were not great. So I don't know how it was where you were, but it's been a rough week weather-wise.
Luckily, we had a game against Syracuse that was lightninged out in March. So we played last night, and we just avoided the rain by minutes. So we're lucky.
Yeah. Well, it's much better today. Thank you for joining us. Want to start, Coach, just tell us a little bit, how'd you get into coaching? Maybe help us understand a little bit about your background, playing, coaching, and how you got to where you're at Brighton High School.
Yeah, so I started playing lacrosse in 2004, which is crazy. I did the math, obviously, in my head, and I was like, I've been coaching lacrosse for the last 20 years. That's crazy. And I'm only 22, so, that happens. I'm just kidding. Yes, I've been playing lacrosse for 20 years, started in 2004. My soccer friend said, hey, let's keep in shape for soccer season, come try lacrosse. And I remember going home to my parents and being like, I want to try lacrosse. And they were like, again, like another new thing. I did basketball and gymnastics and soccer and horseback riding. And lacrosse is really what I stuck with. I started that year, 2004, played on the Highland Olympus combined team. And then ever since, it's just been my biggest passion. Played at Olympus all 4 years of high school, went and played at BYU. And that was an incredible, amazing experience. And then I jumped into coaching. I hadn't even graduated from BYU yet. And I started coaching. I coached 1 year at Skyline in 2013 when we won the Division I state championship. And then ever since 2013, I've been at Brighton.
Wow.
So it's been
That's crazy. You made the Highland team at age 2, Coach. I mean, that's phenomenal.
I know, right?
Well, so I want to talk a little. Let's dive into that a little bit, because it's interesting. Being an Olympus grad, right? And now you're coaching.
Well, I graduated from Highland. Yeah, I graduated from Highland because Highland didn't have enough girls for their own team, so we combined.
Okay, all right. Because I was going to ask what's that like to coach against your alma mater? Because I know, for me, I got a lot of pride in the old alma mater. So,
yes.
even though you played there, what is that like didn't graduate from there, but that's where you played. What is that like to coach against that program?
Yeah. It's fun. Of course, I'm always like, well, I played for this team back in the day, and it's fun to see how much Olympus has grown. And then I go play Highland. And, the really cool thing was the first year of sanctioning, well, after COVID, when we played on Highland's turf field for the first time. That was a really special moment for me, because I was like, I was that senior girl that was like, principal, let us be on the turf. Principal, let us be on, let us use the field. And it never happened. And so to finally be on Highland's turf field with a sanctioned team, that was really cool. That was awesome.
That's awesome. I think it is such a young sport in terms of being sanctioned with the UHSAA. How is that different from your experience coaching in club, playing in club? What are the differences, if you've seen any, between club sport and now sport?
Honestly, the biggest difference and the best difference is the level of support we have from the schools. when it was a club, it was totally parent run, and it kind of depended on how supportive your parents were with how well your season or your program was. And now that we have school support, like having the backing of ADs and admin and buses and classrooms to use and fields that we have set time on, that makes a huge difference. When it was club, it was like fighting for field space, and teams were lucky to get their senior night under the lights on the turf. And now we play on the turf every day. How lucky are we?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you've done such a great job of building a culture at Brighton, because I know, whenever we go to Brighton, it feels like there's great support there, both on the admin side, but also parents, players in the bleachers. We were at a boys game, and there was a huge student section. It's awesome to see the way that school has adopted lacrosse.
Yes, I feel so lucky. I've had two principals while I've been there as a teacher, Tom Sherwood and Marielle Rawl, and they are both incredibly supportive of lacrosse and jumped in with both feet. And they were like, what do you need to be successful? Let's make Brighton a lacrosse school. And our AD, Garrett Wilson, has been incredible as well. And I'm so proud of the program. Both the girls and the boys side, we support each other and we work so well together. It makes my job so much easier.
Well, and you and Coach O'Donnell are both doing great jobs. You look at the years that you have each had, both at the top, competing at the top of the most difficult regions in the state on both the girls and the boys side. But Coach, Brighton, you've put out a lot of players to go play at the next level. When you think about some of those players that have moved on and playing collegiately, what's maybe some characteristics that are shared amongst them, or maybe what's something that would be important for those that are interested in playing at the next level for them to work on developing?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have so many players from Brighton playing right now all over the country. We've had Division I players, 2, 3, and club players. And I think the biggest thing that ties them all together is a passion for the sport. When you have a passion for something, you're going to do the things outside of it. Like a passion, when people are passionate about lacrosse, they're going to play that extra wall ball. They're going to watch that extra game film. They're going to come to practice a little bit earlier, stay a little bit later. They're doing those extra things because they're passionate, because they love it. And that takes them into the next level to be ready for that college, that experience where they're working harder.
That's interesting. There's one of the things I wanted to ask you about. And when you talk about passion, I think regardless of sport, I think that's a very common answer, right? Is that if you really want to be successful, it takes a lot of time, practice, both with the team and on your own. But you've got a super skilled sophomore in Sophie Nielsen, who is an all-region type basketball player as a sophomore, will certainly be all-state probably multiple times before the time her career is over. And yet she excels at both basketball and lacrosse. What allows her to be successful at both sports? And do both sports feed off of her success for the other?
Yeah, absolutely. She is a true athlete. Like when you define an athlete, Sophie Nielsen is exactly that. And she has that passion. She comes to me all the time and is like, Nash, I can't get my left-handed shot down. And she will work on it over and over in practice. One of my favorite things about Sophie is that she's not afraid to make mistakes. And that then propels her. And of course, basketball defense transitions very well to lacrosse defense. So she has stepped right into that defensive role. And now this year we're working on that offensive role for her. And like I said, she is not afraid to make mistakes and then correct them. And she's very coachable, where I'll say, move your hand down on the stick a little bit further, or pull more with the bottom hand, or turn your feet this way. And she adopts it. And I don't have to tell her twice. I don't tell her to adjust that hand a second time. She just does it. And then we're able to add on. So now you have your hands. Now let's work on your feet. Now let's work on your power. Now let's work on your placement. And she just adds it all up and puts it together every single time. Watch out. Sophie's next. She's awesome.
She is awesome. And you watch her both on the hardwood and on the lacrosse field. And she makes impactful plays in both sports. And it's just remarkable because it feels like you don't see a lot of multi-sport athletes succeed at a high level in multiple sports very often anymore.
Yeah, it's honestly taken some flexibility from both her basketball coach and us. She missed our Alta game because she was at a basketball tournament in Texas. And so, first of all, I'm really grateful for her parents because they are very supportive of both. and they're very communicative. So whenever Sophie has to miss for basketball, we work well together to make sure she's making it up on the lacrosse field, while also recognizing basketball is her number one. She loves basketball. She's just as good at lacrosse as well. So it takes extra work, but I would take more double sport athletes, all of them, like soccer girls, basketball girls. We've had some figure skaters in the past, which has been pretty cool. We have a hockey player right now who's coming up in the ranks. So we'll take them, and we're willing to be flexible. We know that time is limited, and we really want to take athletes and turn them into lacrosse players.
Is that the biggest thing? Is it's really just communication by all parties, coaches, parents, players? Is that really the biggest thing to make that work?
Absolutely. And there's got to be some sacrifice. Like missing Sophie in our Alta game hurt us a little bit. She's a starter. She's a contributor in every game. So we had to adjust, and we worked on that, and some other girls step up, and it's just about being flexible and communicating.
You talk about other girls step up. Coach, I think you've got 4 players on your roster that each have over 20 goals on the season. I mean, what's it like to have that kind of offensive firepower and balance to your group this year?
It's honestly my favorite thing. Every time, like my husband does our stats for us, and my first question to him after the game is how many people scored. And I think in almost every game we've had at least 6 players score. In one game we had 18 players score. And I think in Skyline, which was a more intense, close game, I think we had 8 girls score. So who do you stop? If we have 8 girls that can score, who are you going to stop? And I think that's made us so well-rounded, and recognizing that scoring isn't the only thing that matters. Like we need girls to pick up ground balls. We need girls to make defensive stops, to transition well. And so we're just working more as a unit than we have in a long time, which is awesome. Like yesterday we played Syracuse, 3 girls got hat tricks, and I think 3 other girls got a goal. So how incredible.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. Well, and because the other thing too is keeper between the pipes. I mean,
yes.
we did a game earlier this year, and it was like, good luck scoring on her. I mean, like it was just, there were good looks, but she just took every shot away on, I think your defense is really good, but when I think it was corner, when they had looks, it was like she was there to just stifle it. And like, talk about her year and how good she's been for you guys.
Yeah. Oh, Annabelle Abe Kiefer, we call her Abe. She is incredible. And she is the most chill. Like if you saw her on the bus, she takes a nap on the way to the bus or on the way to the away games every time. She's just the most chill, laid back, easygoing girl. And then she gets between the pipes and she's still laid back, easygoing, but then she makes stops. She just is incredible. And this year it's been really fun. She's been a varsity player last year as well as a sophomore. This year she's just really stepped into that role, and hearing her communicate to her team has been so fun for me to watch, because she's finally finding her voice and she's getting that confidence where she's like, I am good at this. And so her defense to slide and crash and find the open girl. Yesterday, again, we played Syracuse. We played man down the entire 4th quarter, and I think they only got 2 goals on her. So to play man down, having one girl, and still she made stop after stop and amazing transitions. She's a huge cornerstone of our defense.
Well, that's huge, because it felt like Syracuse, when they hit region play, they started to really find their stride, right? So, I mean, to slow them up, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning girls lacrosse. I'm still learning boys lacrosse.
Great.
But I think you have an important part of your culture is keeping it light and fun for the girls. I know, you go to a game at Brighton and the announcers have a nickname for everyone, both in lineups and on goals and player music. And why is that so important for you as a coach to instill that in your program?
I love it, because if you're not having fun, then why do anything? I've coached for so long. This is my 12th year coaching high school, and I'm a teacher as well. And I know that teenagers do better when they're having fun. So if that means that I have to do some stupid dance moves on the sidelines, I'll do it. If I can get them laughing, if Jake, our announcer, if like hearing their name gets them hyped up, we'll do whatever we can to make sure they're having fun, because they play best when they're having fun. And I think
go ahead. Sorry.
Right. I think that's just the biggest part of our culture is we have fun. And when we're playing well, we're having fun. So let's keep both going.
It's a great way to keep a team loose, right?
Yeah.
Is not let pressure build too much. So understanding that's, a component that you really like in your program, what would you say are some foundational pillars in your program? Because it's not all about fun, right? I mean, you want players to have fun, you want it to be enjoyable, but what would you say are really some of the foundational principles in your program?
Yeah, that's a great question. First of all, we're super big on kindness. Again, we really push safety physically, emotionally, and socially. Every person needs to be safe in all three ways on our Brighton lacrosse field, which goes for coaches too. We just want to make sure that when we walk on the field, no one feels like they're going to get bullied or, if they're having a bad day, that this can be their safe spot. And that's a really important one. We talk about that one really, really at the beginning of the season, and then we hit it all the way through. Another one is kindness. Like I said, we shut down bullying pretty hard. My players know that I'm not a coach that gets super riled up or super angry. I yell a lot, but not super angry. And they know that if they're going to get me angry, it's because they're being mean to each other or mean to another team. And I do not stand for that. Lacrosse is so much about our community. It's still pretty small here in Utah. And our community, it's more about the community than wins and losses. We got to build each other up and support each other. And that's a big part of it.
You talk about that community still being small, right? And I think that we are seeing growth year over year, but comparatively to other sports, it is still small. How do we best grow that as a community? How do we help get more people involved? Parents, kids, officials, all of it, right? How do we grow the game?
First one, youth programs. We're really lucky. We have 70 girls in our youth program from K through 8, which is incredible. Our youth director, Jen Carey, does an incredible job. And I really attribute a large part of our Brighton success to that youth program because we're getting freshmen that know the rules and they know how to catch and throw, and it just gives us a jump start. So growing the game, youth program. The second one, parent involvement. Coaches can't do it all. And I would not have Brighton where it is unless I had amazing parents that step up and help us. So youth programs, parent support, and I think just things like this, like Utah Lacrosse Report, getting it out there, getting recognized in Deseret News and on KSL. I think that's going to get people interested. Like, what is this lacrosse thing that's growing so fast? All those things make a huge difference.
Okay, that's great. I didn't realize your program was that big, but that's phenomenal, Coach.
Yeah. We just had youth night. We did a youth night on Monday with our K through 3rd graders, and then we had a youth night on Wednesday with our 5th through 8th graders, and they got to be on the field with us, and we did starting lineups with them, and then they did games at halftime. It was so cool. It made me emotional because I'm seeing these little girls with sticks that are taller than them. And I was like, I'm going to coach you one day. I can't wait. So it was very cool. Loved it.
Well, and being able to get them out on the field, right? Because at that age, that's big time, right? To be out on the high school field, the high school players. I remember wanting to do that, as a little 4th grader with my high school basketball team, right? I was like, oh man, that'd be so awesome. And that's a great way to get them engaged and excited about it.
Yeah, they heard their name on the loudspeaker from Jake Hughley, and they learned little secret handshakes with our varsity players. So it was a really special day. It was awesome.
That's cool. When you look at the game as it is right now, at the high school level, right? What would be something that you would like to see changed, or what's an improvement that you would add to the current high school game?
A lot of talk has been happening with the shot clock because college lacrosse has the shot clock. I think that would be really cool to bring down, and that would keep the sport moving quickly. A lot of the changes in girls lacrosse in the last couple of years have been to keep the game fast. You probably don't even remember this, but a long time ago, every whistle was it was like we were playing freeze tag. On every whistle, everyone on the field had to freeze, and that was taken away a few years ago. A shot clock would just keep that momentum, keep it being the fastest sport on 2 feet, and keep it really finessed, and it would make those turnovers a bigger deal. So I think shot clock would be really cool.
I know that's something that when I interview boys coaches, they talk a lot about as well, of keeping that speed going, right? And making offenses move the ball more and helping prepare athletes too. I think that's a very underrated piece of it. If you want to play in college, you've got to figure out how to play within, a shot clock window. So
yeah, exactly. And on the girls' side, college is much more physical. Like it is. I mean, my college players come back with like bruises all over their arms, and my high school players get that as well. But I think the more similar we can get between college and high school, the better success people will have transitioning from high school to college. Of course, keeping it safe, that's the priority number one. But pulling down those college rules will help girls be better prepared for college.
Right. This is maybe a bit of a random question, but it's something that I've thought about, and not having a background in girls lacrosse, I'd love to get your perspective, especially for people who haven't watched a lot of girls lacrosse. I know I've got a couple friends, and as they watch it, they're like, that's totally different than boys lacrosse. Yeah, it is. It's a completely different game. You talk about the physicality, you talk about the safety. I feel like, obviously in girls lacrosse running around just with eye protection rather than a full-fledged helmet. Is that something you ever see changing just with the speed of the game increasing, the physicality increasing, maybe going towards a helmet instead of just eye protection?
Obviously, there's a few girls on every team that wear helmets right now, and it's totally up to them. I think it's Jackson Hole that requires their high school team to wear helmets. I think Florida, it's required of teams to wear helmets. I personally think that when we add helmets, I think girls feel a little bit invincible and they go a little bit harder. What I've noticed is that sometimes girls that wear helmets have a harder time hearing, so it's harder to communicate them from a coach perspective. I don't think helmets solve the physicality problem or the injury problem. I think most of the injuries come from ACLs and sprained ankles and things like that. I'm not opposed to helmets, but I also am not going to make it required for my team until I have to. I love the finesse of the women's game. In the air, transitioning down the field, catching and throwing is so important. Like the beautiful plays where it's assisted right into the 8-meter and then beautiful shot placement. That's the women's game to me. So I don't think it needs to become more physical to be a better game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. You had made mention about, players that you have that have played college and they come back and, they've got bruises, and obviously, high school players have that too. What is one thing you hear about girls that are playing at the next level that has maybe surprised them about the collegiate level of lacrosse?
Yeah, I think something that they go in knowing, but maybe not fully understanding, is the time that it takes. A lot of my girls come back and they're like, it's hard to balance college lacrosse with college academics. In high school, classes are maybe a little bit easier. Obviously, lacrosse is less time consuming. The biggest thing they say is like, oh, I'm like so busy all the time. I got school and lacrosse and team meetings and game film and, workouts and things like that. That's the number one. We're really lucky at Brighton because we have really awesome opportunities. We have a sports psych that comes to our team once a week. We have strength and conditioning coaches that come to our team once a week. We have an amazing facility with an indoor field. So one of the things that some girls come back to, they're like, man, I didn't realize how good we had it. Because a lot of college teams that are still growing as well, they don't really have the access that we do to playing inside when it's snowy. College girls are now saying like, I had to shovel my field. And I was like, well, it was warm and toasty in our indoor field. So
yeah, I'm not going to lie, coaches. We go out to Brighton and you're in the indoor warming up. I'm like, man, I want to go in there because it can get a little, that's such a nice advantage that you've got in your program to have that indoor.
We are so lucky. It makes a giant difference. It's hard to play girls lacrosse in the cold when your hands are freezing. So it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Talk about this Region 6. Coach, I don't know that I've seen a region this good. Of the 9 teams in it, I believe through games played through last week, there's 6 of them have winning records on the season.
Yeah.
What is it like to try to coach in this region where every night you just know that it's a test, right? You really don't have a lot of off nights or free games.
Exactly. Every night is a battle. And we always talk about Brighton's legacy, and we want to leave a legacy that we play clean, we play hard, and we're going to fight. And I think, like you said, in our region, every game we got to fight. And it's been so fun to see this region grow. Last year, this region didn't really exist. Our region was really, really small. And then we added West Jordan and West and Alta. And I mean, West Jordan is killing it this year. We play West Jordan this week, and, we got to be prepared. That's not going to be an easy game playing on their home turf. And this week we have Highland on senior night, and Highland's doing amazing. They have an amazing coach, first-year head coach that's doing awesome. So it's tough. I mean, those region championships are going to be hard to come by, but that's going to make it even more sweet when we can grab one of those, because it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and West Jordan had a tough result this week against Park City. They're going to be focused for that one. You're going to get their best effort, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. I'm coming for you, Cliff.
Oh, I love it.
I love Cliff. He's a great coach.
I am curious, when you talk about all the youth you've got, and you obviously having such a strong young program and having girls that have been playing the sport for a couple of years when they come in as a freshman. What is something you would advise younger players to focus on if they want to play at the varsity level? Or maybe are there certain skills that you see maybe lacking or maybe underdeveloped as kids come into high school wanting to play, at a varsity or JV level that you would advise them to work on?
It's a great question. I think any coach would say stick skills. If I can get a freshman that can catch and throw, that's an incredible advantage for her right away. Something that I've loved to see in some of our younger players is, we've talked about it a lot on Brighton, a sense of urgency. I want them to have a sense of urgency to get the ground ball, to make the shot, to play defense. And I think now people are playing so many sports, or they've just played sports for so long, that sometimes we can get a little bit casual about it. And it's like, oh, I'm going to practice today, kind of what I do every day. But I love seeing athletes come in that are like, I'm here to fight. I'm here to hustle. I'm here to learn. And I want my coach to challenge me, because that's where progress happens, is in that challenging moment. So the stick work and just the hustle, the drive, like I talked about earlier, the passion to want to get better. I would love to see more of that from our youth coming up.
Yeah. I feel like
just there could always be.
Well, and I won't list a player, but we try to do a Brighton game every year because your program is so good and has become such a critical program. One of the real mainstays, and so we'd love to be able to cover your team. And I won't name the girl or girls, but I feel like you've seen an increase in some of that tenaciousness by some of your players this year compared to where they were last year. And I think that was one of the things where, as I look at your team last year, it's like, oh yeah, they were good, right? But this year it feels like there's more of an urgency, a tenacity, a drive, a passion, where you can see players like, oh, they look totally different.
Yeah, exactly. It's been awesome to see. And that leads to us, like you said, we have 4 or 5 players in those 20 goals for the season. And that is what has led to those players being that way, because they've, we talk about turning it on. They've turned it on. They've done an incredible job showing that tenacity and the hustle and the drive, which has been so awesome to see. Plug for summer ball. Playing summer really gives those girls an extra advantage, just that game experience and that lax IQ. So they can come in and be that hardcore athlete because they have the knowledge and the experience to back it up.
Summer ball, is that all ran through a varsity program, or is that all club related?
All club. There's so many clubs in Utah. There's so many opportunities for these girls to play year round. And I think that's I wish I had more of that when I was in high school. It's a great thing to take advantage of. And it makes it fun. We were just at Alta, and I had girls snapping pictures with Alta players. And then there were girls yesterday taking pictures with their Syracuse friends. So it makes it more of a community as well. Yeah. Yeah.
For those that have a young daughter, or for young girls that want to get started, what's the best way for them to get in?
That's a great question. I was just talking to my friend this morning. We were working out at the gym, and she's like, I got to get my daughter in. And I was like, get her a stick. That's the first step. Get a stick, hit the wall. When I first started playing, my dad would have a baseball glove. He couldn't catch and pass with a stick, but I could throw that lacrosse ball right into his baseball glove, and we were out there till it got dark every night. Like it was our go-to. It was so fun.
At age 2, and you still remember it, Coach?
That's right. Exactly. Age 2, I was out there. Could barely run, but I was hitting the wall.
That's right. Yeah. Look, you've done such a great job at Brighton, and obviously you've got a tenure, before then. But before we sign off, I want to just give you a chance to talk about some of your assistants. I know, every good coach has great assistants that help carry the load, and I think if I recall correctly, your coaching staff as a whole has over 100 years of playing and coaching experience. Is that right, Coach?
101 years of playing and coaching experience amongst our coaching staff. Yeah.
So tell us about your staff.
Our staff, I could go on and on. How long do you have? Because I love them so much. They put up with me and I'm texting them constantly all the time. Like, did you see this game? Like we have a group message. We have a group message on Instagram. We're constantly sending drill ideas and everything. My assistant coaches, Chelsea Owens, Mary Barton, Ryan Coombs, Annie Reynolds, Veronica Robinson, McKay McMullen, Kayla Miller, Lolo Ellis. There's 9 of them. Well, 9 of us total. And they come every day willing to work hard and expect a lot from this team. And they expect a lot from themselves in return. And, they're there in the snow and the rain, and they do a great job. And our girls, it's so fun to have a big coaching staff because our girls connect differently with each coach.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm a little bit scary. And so they can have these other girls to go to talk to. And they're not only great examples of lacrosse, but in life. They're getting master's degrees. They have babies. They are in college currently and balancing full-time jobs and coaching. I feel very lucky to have amazing women who all played lacrosse. Most of them played college lacrosse, coming to build this program with me. It's incredible.
I know it's easy to hear, but I don't think a lot of people really realize the sacrifice that people have to make in order to try to go coach. And that's all around trying to make, the youth of today better, right? Be that in the game, but even just better people, off the field. So, I really respect all those that are willing to put in the time, because you talk about hours of practice a week, hours of games a week, travel, being responsive, all of that. It's not an easy job.
It's constant. There's always someone to respond to. There's always someone in your mind that's like, they had a rough practice, I should text them. And it takes so much off of me to know that I have coaches thinking that way. And, they'll text me and say, hey, just so you know, I pulled this girl aside. We talked about this. Hey, just so you know, this parent is going to help with this at the next game. And it truly is a team effort. And like I talked about, it takes that passion. These 9 coaches would not be here unless they had a passion for lacrosse. And it starts with a passion for lacrosse. And then it builds into a passion for these girls. We love these girls so much, and we want them to be successful on and off the field.
Well, Coach, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time. It was great to be able to understand your program a little bit better, hear about your background. Thank you so much for all you do to help grow the game, and of course, in leading Brighton and building Brighton and keeping Brighton at the top of the state. You're doing an awesome job, and thanks for your impact and for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do to grow the sport as well. It's awesome.
All right.
Go Bengals.
Thank you, Coach Nash. Awesome. Thanks, Coach. Man, you talk about a coach that brings a ton of energy. I don't know anyone who's more energetic, positive, uplifting than Nash. And you can just kind of see that persona and how that can invigorate young women. I love when she talks about some of the pinnacles they try to set up. Kindness, inclusion, and really trying to promote a safe environment for their players, given different scholastic and off the field and everything that you deal with today. Man, what a great job she does leading Brighton. They've been to semifinals every year since this sport has been sanctioned, and there's a good reason why. You see the leadership at the helm with her and her assistants. Really want to thank Coach Nash for her time and for all the time she puts into that program, but also spending time with us here today. So, Coach, thank you so much. and big things in store, continue to be in store for a very strong Brighton Bengal girls program. Well, thank you for joining us this week on this interview. Of course, we want to thank our sponsors. Please support them. They're the ones who make this coverage possible. Heidman and Associates, a law service that can meet with you virtually. They've also got law offices along the Wasatch Front. If you have any legal needs, they're full service and they're flat fee too. They're not going to bill you for a ton of hours. Flat fee service. Give them a call at 801-472-7742. Again, that number 801-472-7742. And then, of course, Tribal West, your premier lacrosse destination store. They've got any lacrosse need you have. They've got you taken care of. Visit our friends over at Tribal West. Thanks to Coach Nash. Thanks to Vince Francis. My name is Dane Stewart. And, of course, come back next week. We'll have more interviews for you right here on KSLSports.com and the Utah Lacrosse Podcast.